Hello, 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 friends and family.
Hi.
This is Dom Green, founder of Positive People Posse, and I am with the author of the We're All Weird book, Kristen Heath. How are you doing today, Kristen?
Hello. I'm great, Dom. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. You know, me being in New York and you living in Kansas City, it makes it really tough for us to connect face to face unless we FaceTime like this.
Yes,
And so, we're living in a different world now. Obviously, it's a weird world.
we are.
And that's why
Yes.
we're talking about what's weird and the climate of this world, the meaning of this book, everything that's exciting about this book, and really the backstory about it all. And it's just so weird how relevant this book is, right? Like, did we
It really
know?
is.
Did we know that any of this was going to come about? We didn't know anything about the pandemic. We didn't know anything about the protesting and
Black
everything
Lives
that's
Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Like, all of this is so relevant, and it's very eerie because it just kind of just takes me back to why I even started Positive People Posse. It's really just came down to bringing people together, and it's super important that we do that at a younger age. And so let's just get into it. Let's start
All
talking
right.
about the how this came about. Maybe I'm gonna have you tell the story, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna tell my side, and I'm gonna see if see if we have like the same thought and theory
See if
of
things
how this
line up.
happened. Yeah, you go for it. You go for
Yeah.
it. How do
All
you
right.
remember it?
So I'd say about a little over 2 years ago, I think you approached me. You had the We're All Weird shirts, the upside down We're All Weird shirts. And I, of course, loved it. I wanted one. And you were talking to me about how you've always wanted to kind of break into the children's industry, and how you thought that would be a good platform to do it. I had been writing children's books, nothing published, just, for my niece, Cheyenne, for, a couple years. And when we kind of collaborated on that We're All Weird, I just jumped on it. I was like, let me write this for you. Like, I've got this. And it turned out so good. I mean,
It was
that
it
was
was
2 years ago. I think I actually wrote the book. So,
it was super weird because weird. I think I think we say these terms when it's in our title, right?
you're right.
But I had really just been thinking in my mind. I'm like, we're all weird is something that's very applicable to me. Like, it's something that when I came up with this concept, I was like, what is something that we can relate on? Messaging is really important for Positive People Posse. We've got the love over hate. Positive People Posse in itself is messaging in its words and in the name. And We're All Weird is weird for me. It was just like me not being able to fit in, but realizing when I grew up, the older I grew up, I realized that everyone had this like really quirk to them, this
Yeah.
difference to them, and that's what makes us all unique. It's awesome for us to embrace that we are all different, but we're all one and the same because we all really want to fit in or be accepted to some degree. And when we get that acceptance, it's really important because the people we've seen so many bad things happen in this world when people don't feel like they belong to something. Like, unfortunately, Columbine, that was very
Right.
that was very devastating at the time when we were younger.
Very devastating. Yeah.
And so if we can avoid things like that, that's very important. And with Positive People Posse and the We're All Weird, that phrase, it really rung and it spoke to a lot of people. Right when we launched that shirt, and a lot of people were like, I really like that. And when you looked at the shirt, you have to turn your head because it's upside down. And so we wanted to make people look, stop, look, think, and really digest that message. And I was so excited when you were like, I want to write children's books. Like, I've been writing children's books for a couple of years now. It's like you had the goosebumps, like,
I did. I absolutely did.
we're like
so
energy
confident.
people. You and I are like energy types of people. So we both have the
We are.
And
Yes.
you had
Yeah.
to
From the
spawn on that.
second you Yeah, from the from the second, I mean, you kind of pitched it to me and we just decided to just go for it. I think you can attest to this. I went home that night and I started writing. I got out my notebook and I just started writing things that I felt weird about in my life, things I've been told that I've been weird because I do, or the way I act, or the way I laugh. These are all kind of things that I did try and incorporate into the book because I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one that kind of snorts when I laugh sometimes. I know I'm, not the only one that has these weird little quirks and character flaws. And I think as humans, especially in this day and age, we're kind of conditioned to subdue that a little bit. It's not the cool thing to do to be like, oh yeah, I have this weird flaw about me and I'm really weird. We are kind of conditioned to keep that under wraps and be normal per se. But it's not my personality to do that. It's definitely not your personality to do that. So I think this message is just right up our alley, and yeah, I think people
Yeah.
are going to really be able to resonate with it.
Yeah. It's adults, we just realize that, like we just all have flaws. Like and some of us, we kind of think that like other people have their lives figured out,
Right.
and then I guess the older we get, we realize that not everyone has their lives figured out. Like there's the
Right.
imagery of Nick Burke. What he actually illustrated was this. There's this black kid that's like little Dom Green, and he's like sitting there
Yeah.
on the tire in this book, and he's like thinking that this other kid's got everything. He's got everything
That's
that
a
like
big house.
that this kid doesn't have.
Play
Yeah.
equipment.
Yeah, and then but that kid too is a weirdo, like that kid also doesn't fit in to some box that
Not at all.
society
Right.
thinks that you need to
Right.
be in. And so,
Yeah.
we don't fit that box, like it's okay not to fit in one particular box. And differences, it just charges me up. I get so excited about how people can be so creative, how people can be so different than you and I, and they have so much to offer for this world. And like that's why this children's book is bigger than a children's book to us. Like we know
Absolutely.
that we could do a lot of exceptional things, and it all takes people though, right? Would you agree?
Definitely. Absolutely. And I think in this day and age with social media, it's so much easier, even as adults, to look at the people we follow, and I'm not talking celebrities, I'm talking your peers, your friends, your coworkers, and say, well, man, this person has the job, this person has the house, this person has the husband and the kids, or, whatever it may be that you kind of lust over in a way. It's so easy to kind of get caught up in that. Oh, am I as successful? Am I as pretty as her? Am I as smart as this person? But those people on social media, they're not posting their real selves. They're posting what you want to see, and that's all the highlights of their life. They don't see the fights, you don't see the tears or the bad hair days or the horrible outfits. I mean, you're seeing everything prime time, perfect as they want you to see it. So it's very easy for us as adults to get caught up in that kind of web of, am I as successful? Am I as pretty? And then just kind of amplify that towards kids. I mean, we're adults. We have the capacity to kind of sort through that. Children do not. And whether we want to admit it or not, children are just as involved in social media as we are. You have TikTok, you have all of these apps that are starting children on this compare game at such a young age. So I just think it's so important for all of us to, as adults, to teach the next generation and the generations beyond that how it's not normal. It's not normal to be flawless 24/7. I mean, we all have our bad days. We all have these quirks, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, I know you got bullied, and I did too. You're for your skin color. Mine was for like the gap in my teeth and how tiny I was, and numerous other things through my life. So it's so important for us to be able to kind of level with people and help kids realize that that's not the norm. Like, we all are different, whether it be skin color, a disability, whether someone learns a little bit slower in school, if somebody's in a wheelchair, if somebody has Down syndrome. I mean, to be able to kind of bring people together in that way, I know for you and for me alike, it's just so important.
Yeah, it really is. I couldn't have said it any better than that. Like at all ages, it's just so wild. Like when we were doing the interviews for the We're All Weird campaign, we interviewed all different types of people, different ages. And one that really stuck with me was Penny's interview.
Yeah.
There was an emotional response that we all had when she told her story about growing up and, not fitting into a certain degree when I believe it was either junior high or high school. Like she was like really close with a friend, and then then she kind of like lost a friend in a way, not due to death or anything, but because people go their separate ways and they feel like they have to be quote unquote cool and be distinctly like popular, and like we could all resonate with that, like not fitting in at some point in time. And my life has always been, all about just trying to get as many friends as possible. Like not in the sense of me being popular, but the fact that, I just want friends. I want people to love, I want people to feel the same way I do about this world. And, it's not always going to be like that, but I truly believe that, there's a lot more good in this world that we just don't get to highlight. And, this world is pretty messed up, but overall, we're all kids, even that 75-year-old. I did this great interview. I will say that it's great because it was me. No, I'm joking. I had this awesome interview. With Nick the Great, Nick the Brave. And Nick the Brave, he interviewed me. And, I was just like so astonished of like how brilliant this kid is. He is a cancer survivor, but yet you could tell that he really wants positivity to be his message for the rest of his life and for the rest of the world, and talking about inclusivity and all that. At a young age, he understands the concept of inclusivity. And, for me, I told him, I said, we're all kids. Even the 75-year-old man who's running the world right now, running the United States, he's a kid. Just not to get political, but like grown-ups are kids too. They've had parents, and our time on this planet is really precious. It's really important that we really think about what type of impact we can make. And sometimes the best impact that we can have is just making other people feel good, feel included. And like that's how I feel. And I just sent you that video of that Jennifer. I forgot what her last name is, but 30 years ago, they were pushing for the ADA, which is Adults with Disabilities Act. And she had to basically show what she has to go through in order to, feel included. And so she actually got out of her wheelchair and climbed up 83 steps, crawled up there. An 8-year-old who is disabled is not truly included at that point in time. 30 years ago, inclusivity, it wasn't all about inclusivity. Like inclusion almost barely existed. And this was a protest that was very peaceful. And so her and her 50 other disabled friends had marched all the way up there without their wheelchairs, without assistance, and crawled with their hands and their arms, just scratching and clawing to get up to the top. That makes me feel emotional that not everyone's treated fairly. And, and it's a good representation of what, We're All Weird's all about. We want this to be not just one book. We want this to be a series of books. We want this to truly be its own media entity. and where we can talk about these things and help people out through conversations and represent a multitude of people.
Yeah, definitely. That video you sent me, and I unfortunately watched it right before we began our interview, and I had giant tears in my eyes just trying to hold them back. It's such a powerful video. And when you hear what she has to say, she said, "I'll be here all night if I have to. I'll
Yeah,
climb these stairs all night if I have to."
that just pumps
She's
me
so
up.
passionate about it. Yeah, I mean, at 8 years old, I think it's just so huge for someone to be able to recognize that they're not being included and to go a step further and really do something about it. And
Yeah,
I think ultimately, in a very different manner, that's what we're trying to do here with this. I mean, we've both experienced being left out, being made fun of, being bullied. Hers was on another level, but in the end, we have the same goal. I mean, we
yeah,
want people to feel included. We want to, make sure that we give our genuine selves to people. And, like you were saying earlier, like we just want to make friends, and I know you're big into that. Me, I love people. I'm a total people person. Mine has always been, and I guess it started from when I was little and kind of got, teased and made fun of. I turned more so to the super genuine people in my life. Um, quality over quantity type thing. I
yeah.
want those people that are there for me, down for me all the time by my side. Do I have 1,000 acquaintances that I know I could probably turn to? Absolutely. But to have that solid core of people who are there to just like support you and cheer you on, like Jennifer does in the video, that's where I think you really can turn pages and make a difference.
Yeah, we're trying to move mountains here, people.
We
No,
are.
and here's the thing, for me, when I started this journey, I felt like I was doing this by myself, but I had the inkling, I felt like I had responsibility to myself. Like I owed it to myself to go down this pathway because this is truly something, positivity in all forms, just going through our own battles and challenges was something that I could relate with. It was the most authentic thing that I had. And I saw and recognized other people who've had recognize their challenges too. And that's why this book is so near and dear to me, is because, it truly is giving us a new platform to engage with different people, different all walks of life. And, I really do believe that this thing can really become something great. And I know that there are people out there that are just not getting their fair shake. They're not getting represented. We need to be involved with our community any way, shape, or form. And, I wish we had a lot more to give, but unfortunately, we have to make sure that we have to make money. That's the sucky thing about life. But we've already put a lot of money into this thing, so there's no turning back, so it wasn't about making money. It was really about the message. And so people, how
Absolutely.
excited were you when we got successfully funded in 2 days? Like, I was ecstatic.
I cried my eyes out. I actually FaceTimed you
Yeah, you
bawling
did.
my eyes out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was
I
like, yo,
couldn't even hold it in.
I was like, stop crying, stop crying. Like, we still have so much time. Like, this is one success, we got to keep going. And I didn't want to cry either, but
I know.
the thing is,
It was just that initial shock of you
yeah,
never know how people are going to react.
yeah.
And you and I have
People are
our
so
hearts in
quiet.
this. I mean, this is
Yeah,
yeah, I
we got a
mean,
lot into
this is
it.
like our little baby. Like we have taken this from like the idea to a full-blown book
Yeah,
that is now published, and to see people, and some of those people were people we know, friends and family of ours, but a lot of those people we don't know.
it's so
They're
great.
random people who found
It's
us on
so great.
Kickstarter,
I
and
love
they
it.
love the idea. And
First 2
that to
days,
me,
we were also Kickstarter's one of their favorite
yeah,
projects. That was
Project
really cool.
Love.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So we were on front page of Kickstarter. So to get that recognition from total strangers and from Kickstarter, to me, it was just such a shock. So many emotions kind of running through my body. I wanted it to happen, but to actually see it come to fruition so quickly. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even think it was 2 days. I honestly think it was like
It was a
28
day.
hours.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
psycho.
yeah. Exactly. No, and I
Uh,
really felt like, you know, in my mind, I put so much into Positive People Posse, thousands and thousands of dollars, and I've really had to like really build this thing, and like taking my losses, and so I really want to look at this thing as the most conservative number possible. I was like, hey, we'd just be happy with, if we can get 5,500 over 45 days, like this is a success. At least we can build this thing very small. And just to get all of that support within 2 days, less than 2 days, it meant the world to me. It meant the world to you. Because we've already got a lot more than what we've raised into this book, and but it wasn't about that. It's really being like, hey, if we can get some help here, we might have a chance. We might have a chance to actually really reach more audiences and people. And it really takes every single person, because just by whoever's watching this, if you pledge to the campaign, if it was $10 or if it was $20 for a book, it means a lot, because you're going to tell someone else. Like by you actually share in on the success with us. That book is something like it's going to be with you. That's what's so cool about books. It's not just this digital object. It's our work. Like we are, we're sharing our baby with you. And so, it's just, we just know how much it means to us and how much work we put into it. And, Nicholas Burke, him being a first-time illustrator, Kristen being a first-time published author, me being a first-time publisher, and understanding all the challenges and all the little meticulous things that it takes to get a book out there. It means a lot when people show up, for the first time. And going back to the people that we don't know, thank you so much. Thank you so much for supporting us, because, it really means that there's other people that share this message. They actually believe this message in a different way. Like it is, it's all about, it's a community. We've got more community, and, like that. So that means a crap ton. I can't, I'm going to censor my words since it's We're All Weird children's book. But, and then our friends and family, there's also friends out there that supported us early on that, that like, I probably didn't imagine at all. Like sometimes the people that you expect don't show up, and that's kind of been the case. It can be discouraging when you think about those things, like you really hope that your friends and family are going to be there. But like the fact that we had people that we don't even really know, or we don't really know that well, or people that we haven't seen in a long time, like that just really pumped me up, like I wish we could give you a hug.
I loved the response.
We can't give people hugs these days. You can't give them hugs.
I know. Elbows.
No, you can't even get an elbow. That's too close.
All right, fine. Air 5.
Yeah. Stay away from. Give me, no, it's a 6'5", 6 feet.
Yeah. That response was so overwhelming. And I think obviously the numbers, were just, I was ecstatic seeing those numbers and seeing how many backers we really had with that. But another thing that I've really loved is getting those messages from people. I mean, I've gotten messages from coworkers that I have not seen in years. I have messages from girls I went to middle school with that don't even live anywhere remotely close to me anymore. I haven't spoken to them, 15 years since high school. And here they are in my inbox and they're like, man, I just watched your video and I love what you guys are doing. Like, my son needs this. He's been experiencing bullying in school. Or I got one that was the opposite of, my daughter's been the bully. You know, we're having issues with her bullying. I think this is going to be so good for her to read. So it really does go to both aspects. I mean, you know, children, I mean, they of course are going to experience it. I think the ones that also bully are the ones who experience it. I
Yeah,
mean, they
it's
get
true.
that, you know, that negative response from people. They get kind of beaten down, and then they turn a little hard, they turn a little cold, and you know, they tend to lash out in a way that they understand, and they understood that that hurt them, so that's how they lash out, is they go and they bully someone else, whether it be because they're bigger or they're smaller, or, and I mean, you know as well as I do, there's a million reasons why someone can bully you.
Yeah.
um,
No,
so
and
I just think it's
I
so
would
important
agree
on
with,
all.
I agree with all of that. You know, like, you know, the fact of the matter is, you know, like we were kids at one point in time, and we had like this has helped us go back and relive those experiences. And, you know, I have some not so proud moments. What you said right there, I was bullied, therefore I started bullying at one period of time. And then it was a short period of time, but, you know, I did start bullying, and it didn't make me feel good that I was hurting people. I ultimately had someone who's a mentor to me, you know, tell me like who I wanted to be. Like, who do you want to be, Dom? And I wanted to be the likable Dom. You know, I didn't want to be bully Dom. And so, you
Right.
know, my whole journey has been, you know, positivity and including people, inclusion. And so,
Yeah.
you know, like it really means a lot to me. And, you know, like if anything, you know, I've learned through my experiences. I'm very honest about it. And, you know, I can't wait to make more impact in this world. And I believe that we can do a lot more good in this world, like not just us, but like everyone. You know, like I know that there are people that are going to, you know, hopefully we breed more conversations from this. Like there are kids that can mentor other younger kids through this as well. And so last but not least, before we get off,
Yeah.
I just want to share a couple things. You know, right now we are at about 7,500 past our funding rate. We are 135% funded. We want to keep on going. The reason why we want to keep on going is because there's a lot of like cool technology things that we want to do with this book to enhance more learning, more education, and more backstory of this book. One being, if we get to our 10,000 goal, we're definitely want to open this up for other languages too, you know, or a little bit beyond 10,000. If we hit 25,000, we want to turn this into an interactive children's book. So, you know, how cool would that be? Are you excited about that portion once we get there?
I love the idea of that. You know, just for a kid to have their smartphone or their tablet, which every kid has these days practically, I feel like, and to be able to just hold their camera over the character, tap it, and then you get a whole backstory, who this character is, what makes them weird, you know, what do they do, what they like, just a little bit of character development, and to be able to interact with it, I feel like would just go so far with kids.
Exactly. And, you know, like part of what we're trying to really go after one day is being a children's media company. And so we can really put some positivity in there where people don't have to worry about this hidden messaging that we are seeing with a lot of children's networks and stuff. Like there's a lot of bad weird out there too with
Right.
you know, and
Right.
so if we can interject, you know, a safe haven of positivity for kids, I think that's going to be really big for, you know, the foreseeable future and what we're wanting to do, the backstories of these kids, doing animated cartoons, story time reading, like there's really limitless. There's a limitless amount of opportunities that we can do with this chapter, our first chapter of We're All Weird, you know. So I think there's a lot of people that are excited to see like what can really come about, and that's why they got behind this. And you know, I just really want to say in closing, thank you everyone for supporting this. It means so much. Like like I have been so excited since day 1.5 of the campaign. And I'm still so excited. We've actually like kind of slowed down, but like I know that like it's gonna pick back up. And when people get the book, they're going to be like, okay, yes, this should be a gift for every kid that I know. And we hope hope that happens, because I know that eventually we want to start supporting other organizations as what we've done with Positive People Posse's events. And there's a lot of causes that we can help, but we also have some cool things like our affiliate marketing program that allows people to raise money and awareness for things that they really care about too. So we are going to put this into existence. Hey, we want more collaborations with you guys too. So if you guys are thinking that this is a cool idea that you guys want to get behind and support, we want to figure out a way that we can support each other within our community. Kristen, can you move more over to your right? Your right? Yeah, perfect. Oh, there's a lot of sun. All right, that was like.
I keep like slowly trying to.
Yeah. Right there's good. But we definitely we want more collaborations. We want more support from our community any way we can. If you guys can pledge $5 or even $1, we'll give you a shout out. I don't care. Whatever. Just show you support us, or even just share our videos, share everything that we care. Like if you care about this message, share it. That's supporting, because we know that someone else may support us with a pledge, and they get something out of it. You get a book, or you can get a We're All Weird t-shirt, the upside down original, or also the new We're All Weird. We've got some other ones that we might be kicking in pretty soon too. Check us out at check us out at weirdkidsbook.com. And Kristen, any final words who you want to give thanks to?
There's so many people individually who I want to thank, probably too many on here. But really, I mean, we've had a core kind of group of people who have been those silent cheerleaders for you and I.
Yes,
that patted us back along the way, especially you with Positive People Posse. I mean, I know you've got some friends who, Tim being one of them. I mean, I know Tim's been a really big support system for you. So, and I have like my best friend, Marissa. I mean, she's been huge, just encouraging me like, no, you can do this. Like, you got this. And then once it all came to fruition, she was the first person. She actually showed up at my day job, with a bouquet of flowers and her 2 kids and balloons and cake and, all of this stuff, just celebrating the fact that I even just launched the book, So my parents have always been the type that, who cares what they say, Kristen? Yeah, you're weird. Own it. Like, you're different than them. It's not a bad thing, It's just been the response from everyone, honestly, it was so overwhelming. And I'm like, so grateful. I'm just lost.
And I want to give a thanks to Mr. Michael Saldivar helping with our We're All Weird campaign video. Everyone that showed up for the campaign videos and did interviews, Dapper Latino, the people, Haley Walsh, Tiff Spriggs for the space for us to record our campaign video in Kansas City. And there's a whole bunch of people that we need to thank. And we're going to continue thanking people, because, that's what this is all about. You guys all had a piece and part of this, so much time, money, resources, and just, really frustration went into this as well, and fear too. There's definitely fear of not being able to get this thing off the ground. And we had some missteps, to get us to this point. We found an awesome illustrator, Nick Burke. Thank you very much. And but it means there's a tremendous amount of hugs that we wish we can give you. And a lot of thank yous. And we know that this is it's such a prime time for us to really other people to really understand what we're about, as Positive People Posse, as a publisher, and of course my team, Jen Bedell, helping with the book management. Andrew Morgan's going to be helping us out with our strategy with Amazon. And of course, my team with the digital marketing strategy. So there's so many people that are involved on this that it means a lot that people are supporting, because, we all have a little part in this. And so
definitely. And
in closing, go ahead.
Before we get off that, I just have to name 3 people who totally took me by surprise when it came to backing this project on Kickstarter. And I think you'd say the same. First being Penny McAllister, who's one of them that we interviewed,
Yes.
who had an amazing story.
Thank you.
Andrew Forrestal and Josh Freeman.
Yes.
Those 3 took me totally by surprise with the way that they really stepped up, and they were all so silent about it. They didn't want props. They didn't want anything. They truly just wanted to back it. There's a thousand other people I could name, but those 3 really, I was just shocked with the amount of support that they kind of silently slid in with.
Yeah. 100%. That's awesome. We definitely appreciate every single one of you, and stay tuned and stay weird and stay positive, stay smiling and stay optimistic, everyone. Thank you very much for your support again. And we're going to have some more interviews like this. Kristen, thank you very much for joining us,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Right.
I love you. Let's put that out there.
I love you too. You're a great man.